Thanks, Sophie. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight. An 8-month-old girl's airlifted to hospital after being attacked by a dog in Kent.
It never showed any sort of form of aggression, so for the dog to do what he did, like, for me, it was totally out of the blue.
Combating the cosy killer, the campaign highlighting the health damage caused by wood burners and open fires. We're live in Hove with the story. The emotional reunion between a heart attack patient and the paramedic who helped save his life.
How do I thank someone for it? You can't. Thank you's not enough.
Is it quite emotional now?
Sorry, yeah.
And the spectacular festival that's lighting up one Kent coastal town this Christmas. Welcome to the programme. I'm Piers Hopkirk. An 8-month-old girl has been attacked by a dog in Kent and airlifted to hospital, where she's in a serious condition. The XL bully dog has been seized and destroyed following the incident in Hawkinge near Folkestone, and 2 people have been arrested. Tonight, the baby's family have criticised Kent police for returning the animal after it was seized last year, having bitten its owner. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic has our report.
Shot dead by police in a living room after attacking an 8-month-old baby girl. This afternoon, the XL bully dog's cage and a number of other items were seized as evidence by Kent police. Family members said they had no concerns about the temperament of the animal called Hunter and that the child had previously been fine in its company.
I've been up here all the time, the dog's fine, it never showed any sort of form of aggression. So for the dog to do what he did, like, for me, is totally out of the blue.
It then emerged that in November last year, Hunter had bitten his owner on the hand, resulting in a minor injury, and that Kent police had seized the dog before handing it back.
The force says it couldn't compel the owner to surrender the dog so it could be put down. Instead, a police order was put in place, insisting that the animal should be kept supervised and under control.
That was before new legislation came into force in February, banning the breed unless owners had an exemption certificate. The animals now have to be neutered and be microchipped and face other restrictions too. But this relative wants even tougher protections.
The legislations and the laws need to be changed around these dogs. If they don't want to destroy them, because some of them are not like that, then maybe they should have more tests to where every 6 to 8 months these dogs keep being assessed.
In public, XL bullies have to be kept muzzled and on a lead, but behind closed doors there are no extra safety requirements.
When they are within the home, they don't need to be on a lead, they don't need to be muzzled. Obviously, if they're in a muzzle, they can't particularly eat or, fulfil their normal welfare needs.
Dog attacks in Kent, Surrey and Sussex have risen 38% since 2018, according to data analysed by the BBC. XL bully owners have previously voiced concerns that their animals have been unfairly stigmatised and that owners, not the breed, are to blame. A view shared on the window of the house where this latest attack on an innocent baby took place. Oliver Whitfield-Miocic, BBC South East Today, Hawkinge.
Now, it's a typical Christmas image. Families relaxing at home in front of a roaring fire. But tonight, Brighton and Hove City Council has launched a campaign against wood and coal fires, saying they're damaging public health. Councillors say they create tiny particles, more than 20 times thinner than a human hair, which triple the amount of harmful pollutants found inside the home. That, they say, puts people at increased risk of heart attack, stroke and lung disease. And they say burning wood and coal produces more polluting emissions than all UK road traffic. Juliet Parkin has the details.
The classic cosy pub scene at Christmas and a place to escape the winter chill. But the council is warning that with every pint comes a serving of particulate pollution known as PM 2.5. They call it the cosy killer.
The focus really is on raising the awareness of the problem and the impact on the public health. The city does have 5 existing smoke control areas, and within those areas it is already an offence to release persistent visible smoke from your chimney. Those areas have not, recently they've not been enforced. We're going to start writing to people where we do see that smoke. We're not going to be issuing fines for the time being. We're just going to be, again, it's all about raising the awareness of the problem. So the letters will just be pointing out that the smoke has been seen, the effects on the public health, and that at some point in the future there might be further enforcement.
The aim is cleaner air for people living across the city, and that means, according to the council, keeping a close watch on what comes out of chimneys. It's about raising awareness of the harmful impact that smoke particles from domestic burning are having on health, both inside and outside the home. The campaign relates to burning solid fuel, but those selling stoves say modern models are less polluting than open fires.
All the stoves here are DEFRA approved, so all the stoves here comply with the smoke control zone. DEFRA stove is a stove that's been assessed for its thickness of smoke, so effectively the 2.5s that come out the chimney. And what they do is they check the stove when it's at the testing station, and they ensure that it's within the council's guidance.
Charities campaigning for cleaner air say that fine particles are among the pollutants most damaging.
One of the pollutants that we know is most harmful to human health is called fine particulate matter, and the primary source from that in the UK is domestic wood burning. So it's coming from us having open fires, bonfires, or wood burners in our homes. So when we know that there's having such a drastic impact on human health, and we know the sources of one of the most harmful pollutants, it's really important that we start to sit up and take action about this.
The council says they'll be keeping a much closer eye on smoke emissions, including greater enforcement in smoke control areas where legal restrictions exist. Above all, though, they want to spread the word that keeping cosy can cause harm to health.
Well, Juliet joins us live from Hove. Juliet, is the council taking any action to cut down on wood burning?
Well, Piers, the council admits that up until now it hasn't been particularly proactive about enforcing any consequences for burning solid fuels in areas of the city where by law you're not supposed to. Those areas are called smoke control areas, and they're currently in very built up parts of the city. Emitting persistent smoke in those areas could land you a fine of up to £300. But the council says this campaign isn't particularly at the moment about imposing penalties. It's more about raising awareness of the health impact. We could see enforcement step up with things like warning letters, and we could see the control areas widen out to parts of the city like here in Hove. Those cosy fires on Christmas cards, well, it seems they are possibly going to be a thing of the past when the health impact, it seems, is less positive.
Thanks, Julia. A man who beat his girlfriend to death during an argument over her use of social media has been jailed for life. Hussein Kalyonchu has been told he'll serve at least 19 years behind bars. Kent police say he subjected Sonia Parker to a sustained campaign of physical abuse in the weeks leading up to her death at their home in Edenbridge. East Sussex crews have been tackling a huge house fire this afternoon. 8 fire engines were sent to the incident, which broke out around 11:30 in Brighton. The roof has collapsed and several vehicles have been destroyed, but no one's been injured. More than 90% of restaurants and takeaways with low food hygiene scores in Maidstone have not been displaying the correct rating. Nearly all businesses given 3 stars or less either displayed no rating at all or the wrong one. It's not a legal requirement to display a hygiene rating, but the Food Standards Agency says showing the wrong one can be an offence. The principal of a Kent college says the government's pledge to build 1.5 million homes by the next election could be derailed due to a shortage of construction teachers because their salaries are too low. Experts say hundreds of thousands of workers will be needed to meet the target, but there aren't enough teachers to help train the builders of the future. Our political editor Charlotte Wright reports from Mid-Kent College in Gillingham.
Carefully laying the foundations for their future. Young people at Mid-Kent College hope doing courses like bricklaying will help set them up in a career for life.
I used to be a naughty boy, I used to be a very naughty boy. Until I came to college, I found what I like to do and life's changed now.
I've been told that I've got a really good future ahead of me in bricklaying by like multiple tutors.
It gives them a major opportunity for employment in the future because they're also learning what they call transferable skills as rather than just a trade as well. So it just makes them so much more confident in life, especially when they come in here and they've got no confidence, and then you actually see them leave with all the confidence in the world, which is really good.
And it seems they'll be needed. The government has an ambitious target of building 1.5 million homes in England by the next election. Experts predict the country will need hundreds of thousands of extra construction workers to meet that demand. But this college says they're being held back in training the future workforce by a lack of investment in further education.
There are around 800 teenagers studying construction skills here at Mid-Kent College, but staff say it's so oversubscribed it could easily be around 2,000. The problem is a shortage of teachers and challenges around recruitment.
We often hear from businesses that they are really struggling to recruit enough staff. Of course, we're part of that solution, but we equally share that same problem. As we need so many more skilled individuals to lay bricks, as we're in a bricklaying workshop today, or carpenters or builders, we also need good staff who can teach those skills. And good staff are not always easy to find.
Yeah, put a mark on each one.
This college is calling for the government to increase salaries for further education teachers. They say with current funding levels, it's impossible to compete with industry wages. And they point out that academic teachers recently had a pay rise, earning around £10,000 more on average than those in colleges like this.
I'm a big believer in investing in vocational skills, and I know that the Prime Minister, the ministers and the government believe that as well. It was something that we announced at Mid-Kent College actually as part of our mission statement during the election. I know that Bridget Phillipson at the minute is looking at Skills England. There are lots of plans around this, and I hope through that we'll be able to see that investment that's needed in vocational skills.
The Department for Education says new construction teachers can apply for an extra incentive payment of up to £6,000, and it has a programme dedicated to helping industry workers retrain as teachers. But staff here say more can be done to build a solid workforce for the future. Charlotte Wright, BBC South East Today, Gillingham.
Now, when airport worker John Walton from East Grinstead collapsed at work with a heart attack, he came, by his own admission, close to death. Fortunately for John, his colleagues were able to keep him alive until professional help arrived. And as Luxmi Gopal reports, John's had an emotional reunion with the paramedic who helped save his life.
The frightening part is I didn't actually have any symptoms. I pulled up onto the front of the aircraft. I remember getting out of the aircraft, turning around and closed the door, and that was it.
I heard a member of staff had collapsed, and on the radio it came through that he was not conscious and not breathing.
I grabbed the defib from the wall at the Heathrow Airport here and ran towards the scene, found John on the floor next to the aircraft tug, and he was blue.
John Walton was working near an aircraft at Heathrow Airport when he went into cardiac arrest. His life was saved by his quick-thinking United Airlines colleagues and a paramedic he hasn't seen since. But now, back to work after a year of recovery, that's about to change.
Hello, mate. Hi, John. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. You look a lot better than when I last saw you.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit.
Yeah.
No, thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
Saving my life.
Cycle paramedic Rob Weldon was on shift at the airport's Terminal 2B and rode to the scene within minutes.
If it wasn't for his colleagues doing the CPR straight away and defibrillating him straight away, then he wouldn't be talking to us today, that's absolutely for sure. So they are the heroes in this story, 100%.
But you played a role as well.
Played a role, a bit of decision making, a bit of diagnosing, and obviously just taking him to the right location, yeah.
John spent several days in a coma at Harefield Hospital. Now he's mostly back to full health thanks to a whole team of lifesavers.
The guys around me saved my life. And they've all come together on the day and pulled as a team and pulled me through it. And look, I'm back here now and with all my work colleagues, and how do I thank someone for it? You can't. Thank you's not enough.
Is it quite emotional now?
Sorry, yeah.
I'm not surprised, mate. You've been through a lot.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you've been through a lot.
Having one of your colleagues
You know, obviously have that happen to him and be able to see him back at work, healthy, all good, you know, it's the most amazing feeling.
Because the staff were trained, because the staff knew how to do CPR, because the staff had defibrillator nearby, because they were very confident in using the defibrillator because they had training on that made a massive difference to John's survival.
All in a day's work for some, all down to vital training for others. Either way, John counts himself lucky to be alive, all thanks to them.
Oh, it's so lovely. Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Thank you for being there.
John Walton from East Grinstead, ending that report from Lakshmi Gopal. A community group in Thanet says their future is desperate, with only 10 weeks to find a new location. People Dem Collective is a creative hub for people from black and ethnic minority backgrounds. But their building is owned by the Margate theme park Dreamland, which is selling it to developers. Jadzia Samuel has the details.
This free weekly art class is just one part of People Dem Collective. It's an anti-racist creative group organising outreach in schools and exhibitions in the Turner Contemporary. But this event will be one of the last here, as the building is being sold, leaving the group with nowhere to go.
Already, for the black and brown and diaspora community, there is distrust. We don't have spaces, especially not in Thanet. And now we've fostered this space where lots of people have been able to come together, incubate ideas, businesses, organisations. And now there's an opportunity, there's the possibility that, you know, we're going to be without a space.
People Dem Collective was born out of a shared lived experience and a lack of space and inclusion for our community.
Formed around the time of the Black Lives Matter movement, members say it's become an essential part of Margate.
Me growing up here all my life, I always felt very displaced. And this place right here, the HQ, has made me feel part of something. If PDC wasn't here, I wouldn't still be here.
There are legacies in the culture that we have, and British culture has been kind of, in modern times, kind of formed off the cultural enterprise of black and brown people.
People felt a little bit isolated around Margate and Thanet, and as soon as PDC came about, I believe 4 years ago, it really brought a lot of people from different parts of the community together from all over Thanet.
Back in 2020, when Thanet's District Council was given a government grant in the Margate Town Deal, Dreamland was assigned £4 million to diversify heritage assets. They gave PDC access to this studio temporarily, and they had planned to create a permanent cultural hub.
Now you guys have got your offices on the seafront with us, and obviously we're going to get moving with getting you know, this cultural centre set up, which is so important.
But when Dreamland was later sold, they pulled out of the town deal, and the council reassigned this budget. Members of PDC say they feel they've been abandoned after these plans were drawn up.
To be featured in the sort of so prominently in the application, I think it's 7 times, talking about either referencing us directly as People Dem Collective or referencing our community, the black and brown community, doesn't feel right. And I think that it feels like there should be some responsibility in looking at how we're safeguarded through that process.
Dreamland told us they have supported People Dem Collective, giving them this space rent and bill-free for 4 years. And the council said they're now working with the group to find new funding routes and a new space. Meanwhile, members of PDC say they're desperate for a solution and they fear for the future. Jadzia Samuel, BBC South East Today, Margate.
It's 10 to 7, this is our top story tonight. An 8-month-old girl has been airlifted to hospital after she was attacked by a dog in Kent. The XL bully has been seized and destroyed following the incident in Hawkinge near Folkestone. Also in tonight's programme, we shine a light on Ramsgate's new Lumiere Festival as it heads into its self-styled Wow Weekend of Wonder.
And it was another cloudy, grey and damp day today, but there is some sunshine by the weekend. I'll have the details for you later in the programme.
And if you've got a story for us, we'd love to hear from you. You can send an email to southeasttoday@bbc.co.uk or get in touch via WhatsApp. You can use the number on the screen or scan the QR code. For 16 years, Adam Kenyon has encouraged children and adults to try their hand at archery. Some have gone on to represent Team GB. All say his dedication has transformed their lives and given Sittingbourne a club to be really proud of. That's why Adam is this year's South East Unsung Hero, meaning he'll be rubbing shoulders with the stars at the BBC Sports Personality of the Year Awards in Salford next week. Our sports reporter, James Dunn, has been to meet him.
When we started up, it was an archery club. The more we got into it, the more it developed. It became more about the growth of the individual shooting. As we've gone over the years, they've changed, and their ability to deal with communication, authority, dealing with adults has changed. And so the club has grown because we now work the whole person, not just the sport.
Archery has offered opportunity to many of the members here.
Been to Switzerland, Luxembourg, Croatia, Ireland. Got some more competitions in Canada and Bulgaria next year, hopefully.
Matt is on Team GB's pathway, aiming for the Olympics in 2032. But Adam's taught him much more than how to shoot.
When I very first started, I was kind of very low self-esteem and kind of struggled with my confidence and everything, but Adam kind of embraces all of that and kind of makes it more of a welcome environment for us to be able to kind of come here and shoot.
Hayley's daughter was a student here, but she thought archery was out of reach for her. Adam wouldn't accept the obvious barrier, and she almost went to the Paralympics.
I grew up in quite a sporty family, but never quite found a sport that I could fully participate in and enjoy. I don't have a hand, so this was a cast of my arm, and it was designed and made on a 3D printer for me. Adam, bless him, gave up his Christmas holidays one year to come up with this design, and I thank Adam every day that I shoot because it really has changed my life.
He gives everything. He's always here, come rain or shine. His commitment is tangible, and what's also clear is the effect and the impact that he has on other people, and I've seen that over quite a number of years.
Just to be nominated was what mattered. And the nomination in itself for me made me feel worth $1 million. I do it again, and I'll do it every day, and we will make a difference.
Whether it's elite archers or those picking up a bow for the first time, Adam's teaching everyone here to aim high. James Dunn, BBC South East Today, Sittingbourne.
Artworks, dancers and Christmas light displays are turning Ramsgate into a festive winter wonderland this month. It's all part of the town's new Lumiere Festival, which is gearing up tonight for the Wow Weekend of Wonder. Well, Ian Palmer's in Ramsgate for us. Ian, there you are. What can the visitors expect?
Yes, I am definitely here. We love them first, don't we, Piers? And Ramsgate Lumiere is definitely one of them. Where else can we find a 7-foot dancing Christmas tree? And anyway, Ramsgate Lumiere definitely has that modern twist to it.
Ramsgate, after dark, has never shone so bright. It's the town's Weekend of Wonder, or WOW, in abbreviated form. Earlier, I spoke to the founders of the Lumiere Festival as they set up the centrepiece light sculpture in the Sailors' Church, sited in the town's harbour.
This is all free. This is, we hope, going to attract visitors to Ramsgate to really show you how lovely our town is at this time of year. And it's the harbour, it's the lights, it's Christmas. It's very, very special here.
That's what I've always loved about Christmas, is the fairy lights. That's my favouriteest part of Christmas. And I think it's really important for Thanet and this bit of Kent to have something that brings that kind of joy. You know, in the summer, we have the beaches and everyone loves Margate, and that's brilliant. And it's just something that is needed around here to kind of lift people's spirits.
Balint Bolligo is the artist.
The structure is actually based on a Elizabethan ruff, and we came up with a geometrical design which enabled a special aluminium composite to be folded like paper.
I'm told Ramsgate used to hold a light festival at this time of year in the 1960s. Decades later, the digital deer give the event a magical touch. Folklore suggests nightfall is when mythical beasts and creatures wander among us to cast their spells. But folklore also says, as long as we stay close to the light, you'll always be safe.
Well, Ramsgate Lumiere is partly funded by the Arts Council, partly funded by the local authority, and partly crowd-funded, but it will only survive, of course, if the community wants it. It lasts until Sunday. Good night from Ramsgate.
Ian, it looks and sounds amazing. Now, Rachel is here now, and I heard you practising your Scottish.
Yes, that's right. I lived in Edinburgh for 3 years. I learnt the word adricht, I think, which basically means this: grey, overcast, damp. Certainly not as dynamic as all those wonderful lights. Yes, today hasn't been feeling particularly festive. Once again, lots and lots of cloud around. The weather seems to be stuck in a bit of a cloudy rut at the moment. And for tomorrow, well, you guessed it, we've got more cloud. It's going to be a grey picture and quite a damp one too. The reason for this really quite samey weather, we've got high pressure around. So for tomorrow, we start with temperatures above freezing, around 4 or 5 degrees. Lots of cloud around, and similarly really to today, where that cloud gets particularly thick, you're likely to see some patchy drizzle around as well. Now, eventually, by the weekend, we should be seeing some sunshine. We'll get to that in just a moment. Earlier, of course, lots of cloud around. You can see bits of blue on the map. And as we head into tonight, we hold on to that overcast and drizzly, damp picture. But it does mean those temperatures are staying above freezing, 4 or 5 degrees. They're not going to be rising much above that as we head through the day. There will be some mist and murk first thing. And by the afternoon, I mean, fingers crossed, you might see a little bit of a glimmer of brightness, but for the most part, it is a grey overcast picture, 5 or 6 degrees as our high there. And then as we go from Friday over into Saturday, lots of cloud cover around, but we have got a cold front around. That's introducing cooler air. Overnight temperatures hovering around freezing, a touch of frost first thing for Saturday. That cold front will be bringing a little bit of rain first thing behind it. Fingers crossed, here comes our sunshine. Temperatures of around 7 or 8 degrees. The winds go to a southwesterly direction as we look towards Sunday. Temperatures reaching the lofty heights of 10 degrees by Sunday.
It's consistent if nothing else, Rachel. Thank you. Well, that is all from us for now. Claire will be with you for the late news. Until then, have a very good evening. Goodbye.